What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. I'm always asked questions about finding a Nintendo Switch system at less than like $450, right? They've been kind of difficult to find. However, Nintendo has now responded and commented on the situation, and it looks like it's good news for anyone who's still looking for a Switch at closer to the suggested retail pricing. Also, Microsoft, of course, closed down Mixer very recently, or at least provided plans to do so and expand over into Facebook gaming. Well, there was some concerns about how that was going to work specifically with Xbox users, and they've responded to those issues as well. And the Ape Escape Twitter handle that was teasing something new Ape Escape-wise, it's been posting some very odd messages on Twitter. We're going to go over all of that and more today, guys. As always, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you hit that like button. Helps out a ton. And if you're brand new here, hit the red subscribe button down below as we head towards 500,000 subscribers. And we're going to start today with the Pokemon Presents event that should be happening like an hour after Newswave goes live because, you know, why not, right? Thanks to Nintendo and the Pokemon Company for always doing that with these events. But the event is going to be interesting. Now, people are trying to figure out what's going to exactly happen here. It's supposed to be about 11 minutes long, and some of the rumors have been going around something with Tencent possibly, as people on Twitter have been kind of posting about it, specifically Daniel Ahmed, about how, Tencent is working with the Pokemon Company to do something, and this has been touted as being like the next big project for the Pokemon Company. So interesting thoughts there. People have also been wondering, is this a Diamond and Pearl remake? Is this the next game in the Let's Go series? A lot of questions. I do think it very well could be a cell phone game, and I don't know how that's going to go over with a lot of people with how it's been hyped up, but hey, just a couple of hours, I guess we'll find out. Oh, and as we know, a new Tony Hawk game is coming out in a couple of months, and we were told that there would be some sort of demo, specifically the warehouse demo, ahead of release, specifically if you were someone who, I guess, digitally pre-ordered this. I don't know how that would work with physical retailers like GameStop, because generally they would get like a code that they would print out on a receipt. Not sure how any of that'll be handled, but for digital pre-orders, there will be a demo of some kind. It just, we weren't really sure when we would be able to get our hands on it. Well, they released a brand new trailer, which they did tell us that we would be able to grab the warehouse demo for anyone who pre-ordered August 14th, and they introduced several new skaters who will be a part of this. That includes Nyjah Huston, Tyshawn Jones, Riley Hawk, and several others as well. I'm excited to check out this demo. The warehouse demo, of course, iconic level all the way around that we all remember. You go down the ramp, of course, all the way down to jump over the half pipe while you have Goldfinger and Superman playing in the background. So yes, looking forward to checking it out. I'm really hoping that this game turns out to be good. At least it's Vicarious Visions, so I have some confidence there, because if this does well, I do think we could move on to something like Tony Hawk Underground, and that would be pretty awesome to see Underground 1 and 2 remade, or even a brand new one. Also, it looks like EA will be doubling down on Star Wars games going forward, which shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone really, but with the whole thing with Battlefront 2, I was a bit concerned about Star Wars overall in the video game space. That got ugly really fast with those loot boxes, but it seems that EA's managed to turn it around with Fallen Order. That did pretty well, and shockingly, still no microtransactions or loot boxes in there. You never know, I guess, but doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And now we, of course, see Star Wars Squadrons coming up. That's going to be apparently the same way, although that's more multiplayer focused. So that I have to, again, see to believe. But the idea of EA doubling down on Star Wars games and continuing to make more and more of them that are less focused on the loot boxes and the microtransaction aspect and more on, making a good game is at least exciting. But once again, whenever EA announces a Star Wars game, or really any game, we all sit down and ask, what's the catch? Hopefully they can eventually grow out of that, but I'm not holding my breath on that one. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. We'll start right away with the stock shortages around the Nintendo Switch. It's something that pretty much everyone has gone through, especially if you were looking for a Switch around the time of Animal Crossing taking off right at launch. It was very, very difficult to find anything Switch related. Even a Switch Lite, which has been a little easier to find, was still pretty difficult then. And now we're all kind of wondering when the Switch will be much easier to find, especially going into like the holiday season, or at least the back half of this year. We would expect things to get sorted out, especially after COVID-19 kind of messed up the overall supply chain with manufacturing and factories just shuttering for a little while, like flat out. It was very difficult to get these systems out. Even PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones were getting pretty difficult to find too, but the Switch definitely felt it because Animal Crossing was there and it was this massive explosion of sales. We saw the price hikes. The good news though is that I believe that probably by, I'm going to say the end of July, early August, I think we'll be more or less back to normal, like overall. And this is good news for anyone, of course, looking for a Switch, especially if that Mario collection ends up being announced going into the holidays. It'll be good to have more and more Switch systems on the shelves for that, definitely. But we can actually go over to a publication that managed to get a comment from a Nintendo spokesperson. And this is from the Japanese outlet Career Connection, who managed to get a comment from the Nintendo spokesperson saying that the overall production for the Switch is returning to normal, which is great. So how much longer until we actually see the results of this on shelves? It is hard to say, obviously, because there's a lot that goes into actually making the Switch and then getting it to your Walmart or Best Buy or any of that, a Target. But before this, we had only heard Nintendo trying to figure out solutions, even moving production outside of China to different locations. We had like Vietnam and others, just to try to get this working and back on track. So it's good to know that at least some of that is getting back to normal, so we can kind of move into the fall with hopefully some releases being announced by Nintendo, because after Paper Mario, there's like not much of anything. The evergreen titles have kept them moving along, but I believe they have to talk to investors or have an investor report like pretty soon. So you figure they would have at least some information for them coming up as to what their plans are for the rest of this year, because after Paper Mario, what, Pokemon DLC? That's kind of it. So if you've held out this long, don't buy a Switch from a reseller who's trying to mark it up, because most likely they're going to be stuck with that Switch and then having to sell it back for just the amount they bought it for, $300, and a whole bunch of wasted time. So good news there, I guess. Next up, let's talk about the whole situation with Microsoft and Mixer and Xbox. Now, of course, the other day, Microsoft just like out of the blue said that Mixer's shutting down. That won't happen until next month, July 22nd. They basically gave a month notice to everyone that Mixer was going away. I mean, it wasn't like obviously a massive streaming platform like Twitch or YouTube or even Facebook Gaming at this point, where they're gonna be going and partnering with, and then integrating xCloud and all the users from Mixer, but still, it's Microsoft's streaming platform, and it's just like going away. There was a dedicated app and everything on the Xbox, and that is bringing up some concern with Xbox users currently, mostly because it sounds like Mixer just overall is going to be straight up integrating with Facebook Gaming, as users and partners and everyone are just being moved over automatically. The concern has been, does that mean that the Mixer app will basically turn into a Facebook Gaming app and all of my information is going to Facebook? And then, of course, there is a lot of concern around the amount of information that Facebook gathers in the first place, but does this mean that that Mixer app is going to just turn into Facebook Gaming? And maybe I didn't want Facebook on my Xbox in the first place. Well, Major Nelson did take to Reddit and answered several questions about this. Seeing a lot of questions and concerns here. As Phil has mentioned, we want anyone who has an Xbox to stream where they would like. Built-in broadcasting from Xbox One will be temporarily disabled in the transition after July 22nd, so we can build it into a more social experience for Xbox players. If you're asking if the current Mixer integration in the dashboard is just going to become Facebook Gaming, the answer is no. And I mean, this is a very vague statement overall. Clearly, they are going to design some sort of app for the Xbox, for Windows, that is much more compatible with Facebook Gaming. Facebook Gaming did take off more than Mixer, but a lot of it has to do with there just being a ton of users there in the first place that they can then advertise that service to. And I mean, it worked out much better for Facebook, who managed to take their Facebook Gaming over the last year and grow it over 200% year over year, whereas Mixer grew 0.2%. Yeah, so it wasn't great for Microsoft. Obviously, they saw the writing on the wall and said, hey, let's just partner with Facebook and integrate xCloud, and we'll just have a bunch of users at our disposal. Didn't go over great, it seems, even with the Mixer team, who apparently, according to several of them on Twitter, found out like an hour before the announcement was made, and several streamers on Mixer literally found out while they were on stream in some instances. It wasn't a pretty picture overall. The fallout wasn't great, but at least it does sound like right now, by the way, I'm definitely not making any guarantees myself on this one after Mixer just snap your finger going away. It doesn't at least look like that Mixer app is just going to turn into Facebook gaming. One day you log into your Xbox and Facebook's just staring back at you. Next up, let's talk about the New Game Plus Expo that took place yesterday. It was a pretty long live stream. I was actually kind of surprised at how many games were announced. Now, not all of them were these big blockbuster announcements, and for the most part, it was kind of overhyped, right? I think a lot of us were expecting something big from Atlas. Wasn't that big. I think some of us were expecting, Persona 5 Scramble is finally getting that Western release date. Didn't happen. Nothing Persona related, none of that. But we did have some good announcements. I'm gonna go over some of the larger ones here because there really were a ton of announcements in like this 45 to 50 minute presentation. So to start off, Suda51 pops up on screen, and strangely enough, the background behind him, which was of course green screen, turned into No More Heroes 3 gameplay. He was just in the way. It took like 50% of the screen, obviously as a troll move. That was technically the first live gameplay that we have seen for the game. And you know what? The edges of the screen look pretty good. I'll say that. We need to obviously see this game. It's supposed to be coming out this year, so in the next 6 months, we should have this game, and that's the first gameplay we have seen for it. I kind of thought he was gonna, make a joke, laugh, and then, be like, you wanna see this? Here's a gameplay trailer. But that didn't happen. I assume we will see one soonish, considering we just saw some live gameplay there, which tells me it's probably ready to at least show off in a gameplay trailer / demo environment. But for now, we at least have some footage just with Suda in the middle of the screen. Anyway, from there, some of the big announcements included Ys 9, that will be coming 2021 on the PlayStation 4, the Switch, and the PC. They did show off Harvest Moon One World. That's coming fall 2020 to the PlayStation 4 and the Switch. The big one I was really excited for is Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2, because I love the first one. That was great. And that is still to be announced, but it is coming to all platforms, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. And then we also had Guilty Gear Strive, which in motion looks incredible. Amazing. If you're a Guilty Gear fan, you've got to be loving what you're seeing here with this game that's coming out early 2021. So far, just on the PlayStation 4 there. And then they did show off Trails of Cold Steel 4. Now, that has a confirmed release date right now for the PlayStation 4. It will be going there first, October 27th of this year. And then next year, 2021, it will find its way to the Switch and PC. So those were, like I said, some of the bigger announcements there. By far, I really liked the Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. Some of the gameplay they showed there looked awesome. I was hoping for at least a release window, release year. I kind of feel like it's coming out later on this year, and they can probably just drop it whenever, because the first one I believe was $10. Maybe the second one's like $15 or something, but it's generally not like an expensive game overall. And it was great to see Ys 9 get its Western release year, I guess, 2021. It's out in Japan already, but we've been waiting to hear when it would go worldwide. So not a bad presentation overall. Overhyped, yeah, a bit, but there was some good stuff there. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about Ape Escape in 2020. This was a strange situation overall. Of course, a Twitter account was made, and it appeared to be teasing something Ape Escape related, but nothing really ever came of it. We almost thought they were building up to that PlayStation 5 event to show off Ape Escape, maybe going to the PS5, even as kind of a smaller title like how we saw Sackboy, not to the level of Ratchet & Clank, but fitting in there as like a smaller release for the system, but it never happened. And then all of a sudden, here we have these tweets coming out from that account, and it almost looks like they're going away, not necessarily shutting down, but maybe they're just gonna be done for a while with this account. Now, Gematsu posted some translations of it, and it says, the 20th anniversary is fun. I was really happy to be able to see you all after such a long time, but it looks like it's almost time for me to go. And then in several tweets after that, they talk about how there were some things they couldn't do and some things they could, and that they regretted some stuff. It's very strange. It's almost like a project was moving along and then it fell through and they're just kind of left with nothing. It's strange. I don't know if an Ape Escape game is coming. I thought that would have been a fun reveal, but these tweets don't exactly paint a happy picture or something really to look forward to. Maybe it really was just an account made up to kind of play around during the anniversary, and now that they're pretty much done with that, they're moving on. I don't know. I guess we can always look forward to the idea of an Ape Escape game, and I'm sure it will come up at every state of play whenever those get announced. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day, as you're seeing here. This is from Joseph saying, where is the Mass Effect collection for Switch, EA? The port would make perfect sense for the Switch, but still nothing. It's sad to think about. Okay, so this is going to be fun, I'm sure, but the Mass Effect trilogy does appear to be getting ported to consoles, and it does look like, at least initially, the Switch won't be a part of that, which is super strange. That is currently the rumor going around, but I keep hearing this information, and I am very surprised that EA wouldn't move the Mass Effect trilogy to the Switch immediately alongside of those platforms, because I think it would sell really well on the Switch. But yes, most likely you are going to see Mass Effect trilogy announced, probably for like PC, Xbox, PlayStation 4, might even be backwards compatible with the PS5 and the Series X, and there just won't be a Switch logo, and everyone will just be like, yep, that sure is EA. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. Enjoyed this video, guys. Hit that like button, it really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it's the Ape Escape Twitter account seemingly going on hiatus. Do you think we'll ever get another Ape Escape, even on like the PlayStation 5? Let me know about that. Or Switch production now, I guess, just coming back, or did you manage to find one? Are you still waiting? I would hold out a little longer because should start showing up soon. And then Microsoft, the Xbox, and Facebook. Do you think they're being a little sly there and eventually Facebook will pop up? Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.